May 21st through the 22nd was New Jersey Regionals. Regionals are like mini conventions for Pokemon, where they hold a video game tournament and a trading card game tournament. If you've seen this channel before, then you know that New Jersey Regionals was the first milestone I set for my VGC journey. All the learning and growing I've done was to see how much of a run I could make here. We got to the venue on Friday, and started the trip by having dinner at a local Indian place with a few friends from the VGC community. With my belly full, I went to bed hungry to see how far I've grown. I played a pretty stock Calyrex Shadow Riders Asian team this weekend, with physical Regieleki as a Dynamax option when I want to get aggressive, and Blastoise as a Dynamax option for when I play a slower game, or as Yon support when I didn't want to Dynamax it. After some testing, huge thank you to Scarlet and Johnny for helping me by the way, we concluded the team had game into pretty much everything, but had a really hard time into Kyogre teams that have Kartana.
What a pleasant surprise.
Round 1, I immediately played into a Kyogre Kartana team, and got completely rolled. It was the only match of the weekend that I felt I had no play into. At the end of the tournament, I went 3-5, losing one more total game than I won over the course of the tournament. Unfortunately, there's no footage of these games to do case studies on, so instead, let's talk about what my team was supposed to do, why it wasn't the best choice for the weekend, and how I could have played better. My team was at least 2 weeks out of date. Not something you can afford to be at such a big event. Every piece of tech on it was designed to help it against the Renius Sun matchup. But the meta has shifted away from Renius Sun, and the Groudon teams of today play pretty differently. My team had a distinct lack of hard speed control. It relied on naturally fast Pokemon, priority moves, and max moves to try to keep speed control. But after last weekend, it was clear that teams were packing more dedicated speed options, whether that be Tailwind, Thunder Wave, or something like Trick Room. My team didn't have an option like that, and because of that, I was often forced to play the kind of game my opponent wanted to, meaning my aggressively slanted team was forced to play a weird defensive game. Looking at the team that won the tournament, their primary form of speed control was Max Airstream and Fast and Pokemon as well. But because their Max Airstream user was Thundurus instead of Regieleki, their team was much more likely to be able to get 2 Airstreams off fight against Tailwind, because Max Thundurus is a lot more bulky than Max Regieleki, and it doesn't get completely destroyed by a single ground type. What? In terms of my gameplay, I think I played at my usual level. Not bad, not great, but I noticed a theme in my mistakes. Openings and mid-game in VGC can be fairly predictable, but the farther into a game you get, the less likely you can plan for what's going to happen, and the more you need to be able to adapt on the fly. This late stage of the game is called the endgame, where both players have likely lost core pieces of the 4 they brought, and are working with what they have left. Or at least, that's what it's been for me. The way you should be playing is to anticipate the endgame, and try to make sure what you have left is going to beat whatever endgame Pokemon your opponent is trying to set up. For example, if you were playing against the team I brought this weekend, you can be fairly certain that I will try to clean up in the endgame with Calyrex Shadow Rider. With that in mind, you might want to favor conserving a Dark-type Pokemon like Incineroar for the endgame over keeping a Pokemon like Zacian safe. Because if it comes down to a 1v1, Incineroar will beat Calyrex Shadow Rider every time. Pokemon is, at its core, a game about trading resources, whether that be max turns, HP, etc., in a way that you'll have the right tools left to beat what your opponent has left. This is how you win the game. When your max turns are worth more than your opponent's max turns, you start to climb ahead. Accumulating that advantage is what separates a good player from a great player. And I'm not a great player yet. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please let me know by telling me what you want to see next in the comments, liking, and subscribing. I'll be back for NAIC in about a month, and if you have the means to do so, I really recommend going to one of these events. The safety procedures are very thorough, the event is a ton of fun, and you can meet me. Until next time, bye.